If you are anything at all like me, you will be the kind of person who likes to talk yourself out of things all of the damn time. This is especially true when it comes to art because I quite often will get started with something and then will go, oh my God, this is absolutely rubbish. What the hell are you doing? Perhaps you should not continue and you should just give it all up. That is me. I like to do that. And so sometimes it's extremely hard for me just to press on, for me to carry on regardless, and just get some work done and then see where it takes me. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Jenna. I'm an artist who has had a bit of a hiatus, probably about 4 or 5 years since I went and did my MA at Central St Martin's, and I'm trying to get back into making art again. I am also trying to stop myself from being too pedantic and perfectionist and getting in my own way. So if you're new here, hello, and if you're not new here, welcome back, and let's carry on with a little bit of yapping and some of the work that I've been working on / experimenting with recently. More often than not, as an artist, if you're not playing, if you're not experimenting, then you're not really getting ahead. And it is extremely important to just get cracking on things, to do some stuff, to see how it goes. Maybe it's going to be absolute rubbish. 90% of the time, it is going to be absolutely rubbish. And that is absolutely fine. That is how it goes. Any artist worth their salt will tell you that what they do and what they produce is 90% absolute shite and maybe 10% okay, and maybe 9% okay, and then maybe 1% actually worth anything. Not monetary value, but actually, considered to be a good work of art or a good piece of art. I've been watching and reading other artists kind of process and kind of how they get through kind of blocks and or over perfectionism and or just trying to get things done. And quite a lot of them suggest, taking a subject matter, taking something that you're trying to work on and doing it in kind of multiple different ways. So either different mediums or, different styles. And just having a good old experiment, really, not being too precious about the final result, but just having a good play. Now, I have a large painting that I started and then got a little bit overwhelmed with. I think probably because I'm working in oil with it, and I was, rather than kind of, taking sections of the painting and trying to work on them bit by bit, I was trying to do everything all at once. I was trying to get too broad with it and trying to figure it out. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm just going to, not. And inevitably, it kind of stops me in my tracks, doesn't it? So I kind of, put painting away for a little while, a couple of weeks. No, not even a couple of weeks, a couple of days, maybe a week or so. And I was like, I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to do anything with it. It's really stressing me out. So instead, I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some paper and I'm going to take my sketchbook and I'm just going to really play with the composition, with the kind of style, and see how I enjoy that and what it might result in. Now, this particular bit on paper that I'm doing is, or this piece on paper that I'm doing rather, is really in a kind of let's see if we can do this in a kind of an illustrative style rather than a kind of a painterly, fine art painting, oil paint style. So I'm doing it in gouache, I think, yeah, acrylic gouache, and I'm just kind of having a bit of an experiment to see what I can come up with without being too precious about the final result. I mean, I did actually really enjoy this process. It's not something that I thought I would because I'm not an illustrator. That's not really my intention. I don't really want to be making illustrations, or at least I don't think I do. You never know what might result in these kind of things. But anyway, I was just having a bit of fun with it and seeing if I could play with a bit of mixed media as well. I do start off the painting, or at least a complete like 80% of the painting in gouache and or acrylic, and then I go in with some wax Caran dash kind of a wax pencils, no wax crayons, and then with a bit of pencil as well, I think, in the end. Anyway, this particular piece is just a good old play. I have recorded it in real time rather than doing kind of time lapse so that you can just put it on in the background if you want. You can kind of watch the process of it coming together. I do enjoy a bit of time lapse, but sometimes it's nice just to watch the paint being applied to the paper. Yeah, it can be nice and chill. Like I said, you can put it on in the background if you want. I might put a little bit of music over the top of this. Because I feel like any more yapping from me is probably going to annoy the ever living hell out of you. So enjoy this little, paint with me in real time as I experiment with this particular composition for a bigger painting. And yeah, I had fun doing it, and I hope you enjoy watching it. I will chat to you again next week. Enjoy.
one of the reasons it would be nice to talk to you is that then I won't get too like focused on things. sketches last night because I was using some of these as reference.
To loosen it up and be a bit more conceptual. I feel like for me, conceptually, I really want to keep exploring different themes.